I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like there's this great divide happening right now on social media. There's people who are getting better and then there's people who are just getting bitter. And I'm not talking about like a small difference either. It's like a huge split. It's like half of the internet is just divided. Like you can scroll through your feed right now and immediately tell who's evolving and who's just becoming resentful, evolving and dissolving. uh, the people who are becoming better are still growing, they're still building, they're still trying, hell. And the people who are becoming bitter, it seems like they kind of just already gave up. And it's like they're mad at the other people who didn't give up. And then again, it might just be my timeline. I might have to go in and refix my algorithm again. Oh my gosh. And this is how you can tell. This is a clear indicator that someone has already given up on their life. When they start making reels and TikToks, mocking people and making fun of people who are still trying. Oh yeah, they done gave up on life, bro. They out of there. They done threw in the towel. You took 20 minutes out of your day to film yourself being mad at someone else for trying, bro. You see how crazy that sounds? And the wild part is they don't even realize how crazy it makes them look. As you can tell, this has been pretty heavy on my mind. So I started to think about it, man. I started to try to unpack it. And this is what I was thinking about. The first generation raised on social media is now in their 30s and 40s. Us millennials, we were the first ones to have this thing called social media, right? This idea of getting bitter versus getting better, this isn't new, right? This existed way before social media. There has always been people in their 70s and 80s who grew wiser, grew happier, and others who grew more resentful and hard as life moved on, right? That didn't start online. This is just human nature. But the difference is now we're watching it in real time. So for the first time ever in history, we're getting to see what happens when people age publicly with the internet. That's crazy to me. Like that, I don't know. That's when I sat back and thought about that, it's kind of mind-boggling. Now, one could argue that social media is making people bitter. And I could see why they would think that. But social media didn't invent bitterness. It just gave people more like a platform to perform it, Whereas like years ago, you would only see bitter people like at the grocery store, or everybody knew that one bitter old lady or that one bitter old man who lived in the neighborhood or in your building. Everybody know he's just grouchy, that's just life. He's a grumpy old man. She's a grumpy old lady. Now to see that bitter person, all you have to do is open your favorite social media app. Isn't that crazy? The internet just brought it closer to us. It brought the bitterness of other people into our home through our phones. Now, this is the part that really gets me. Some people have given up on their dreams, their goals, pretty much their life. And that's their choice, do what you want. It's your life. But instead of them just living with that choice quietly, it's almost like they became angry at people who haven't given up. Have y'all been noticing that too? I mean, how many times have you heard people say stuff like, everybody trying to be a content creator nowadays? Like, duh. And excuse me if I get a little passionate here, but when I hear people say stuff like that, I'm just thinking in the back of my mind, I don't know if you've been living under a rock your whole life, but that's literally what humans do, create. And content creation is just one of the newest forms of what artists and storytellers and builders of all sorts have always done, except now more people have access to a microphone. So if that bothers you, maybe it's not even about them creating. Maybe it's about you watching other people use their voice while you're still scared to use yours. Maybe you need to ask yourself why someone else using their voice makes you feel threatened. Like, why does that make you so uncomfortable? Whew. Listen, man, pessimists hate to see me coming. Pessimists hate me, boy. You not gonna talk nobody out of their dreams on my watch. Not today. I fight for the dreamers, baby. I fight for the dreamers. There's literally like a whole corner of TikTok now where the content is just mocking people for having goals. Trying to become an entrepreneur, trying to become a content creator, trying to become a model, artist. Imagine building your entire personality around tearing other people down who at least are brave enough to try. I don't understand that, man. I will never understand that. That's crazy to me. Bitter people can't stand watching other people try because it reminds them that they stopped trying. That's the whole thing. That's really what it is. And side note, at one point, people was trying to act like TikTok was this super positive, uplifting place, and Instagram was like the super toxic place. Man, nowadays, TikTok is just as bad as Instagram, bro. Let's be real. Because again, it's not the platform, it's the people. They're either getting bitter or better. And if you peel back the layers, I don't think people want you to fail because they hate you. I think it's more of they want you to fail because your failure would validate that their decision to quit was right. Because if you succeed and you end up making it, dude, that means they could have made it too. They could have succeeded too, but they didn't. They gave up. And now they have to live with that, right? And because of that, they mock you. They leave the meanest comments. Oh my gosh, dude. Just go viral one time and you will see how mean humans can really be. Boy. Because if you fail, they get to say, see, I was right to not even try. It's all a scam anyway. It's all a scam. Now, one thing that we all need to keep in mind is social media platforms, they don't want to see us happy. Okay. They don't want us to be happy. They want us to be engaged. That's it. All they care about is engagement. And you know what drives engagement? Anger, fear, jealousy. That's why you see so much rage bait. There was actually this study done by, let me make sure I'm saying this name right. Yeah, there was a study done by the National Institutes of Health. They found that social media algorithms prioritize content that triggers negative emotions because it keeps you scrolling. So, in other words, you don't click on the person who had a nice day, you click on the person who's ranting about injustice. So again, it's just the algorithm doesn't care if we're happy. It only cares if you're still on the platform. And anger keeps people on the platform longer than joy. So they just keep pushing it and pushing it and pushing it. And that's why it just seems so it's so negative and draining most of the time. I don't even think a lot of these accounts that push this negative stuff and say like these super, super hateful comments, I think a lot of that is bots, man. I think they have a ton of like bots just spewing negativity all over social media. But I mean, bots aside, the reality of the situation is as we get older, social media continues to be, the highlight reel of everybody else's life. And if your life is not where you thought it would be, dude, that could hurt, man. That's devastating. Constantly seeing somebody celebrate their success, celebrating all their wins, and you feel like you're losing over and over and over, day in and day out, multiple times a day, you're gonna eventually start building some resentment towards people. You 38 years old, scrolling through, seeing your friends at their wedding, their promotion, their fit body, and you sitting there like, man, I hate my job, I'm single, and I haven't worked out in 6 months. How they say that comparison is the thief of joy, my friend. And it also breeds resentment. And resentment turns into bitterness. And all of that bitterness turns into posts like, success is overrated. Stop posting your gym pics. Nobody cares. Why is everybody trying to be a content creator? You don't want to be one of those people. And also, we're all aging on the same internet. We're dealing with the same algorithm that wants us angry. We're dealing with the same curated highlight reels of everybody else's life, but some people are using it to grow and connect with others, and some people are just using it to blame and spiral into resentment. And the difference is not luck, man. It's literally a choice. It's literally a choice. And I got this quote. It says, bitterness is what happens when you're angry at other people for living a life you wish you had, but you won't do the work to build. Ooh, that's good. So the moral to this whole episode is don't be bitter, be better. But anyway, guys, that's just a little something I was thinking about today. If you love this episode, send it to a friend. If you hated this episode, send it to your enemy. But as usual, thank you for being you. Thank you for being here. And thank you for hearing me out.